Good afternoon. Welcome back to those of you who join us regularly to our home buying seminar. I'm Bill Gross, broker associate with eXp Realty here in Los Angeles, along with my colleague,
Yes, Patricia.Castillo.
Patricia.Castillo, and our good friend and lender,
Gustavo Segura. How you guys doing?
Gustavo. And we're all doing great. I mean, real estate's great. It's just a laugh a minute. It's all sugar plums and rainbows and unicorns, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
closed a bunch of deals. I got one more deal I'm trying to get into escrow, and I feel like I'm using a crowbar to get it done. The buyers, I just wish I could hit the buyers over the head with it, but they're not my buyers. But we're that close. But otherwise, everything else is good. And it's an interesting time of the year. So, what I will say is that it's interesting as you enter December. Usually, if there's 100 sales in June or July or August, then in December and January, usually there's about 60 sales that close, about 60% of the volume. What I also know is that if there's 100 realtors working in June or July, there's about 40 working in December and January. Two of them are on this call, along with a lender. Talk about disappearing lenders are another one that just kind of disappear in December and January. I think in years past, they made so much money, they all had to go somewhere to count their earnings for the year. But what I will say is that those of us who are working, it's a great time. If those are looking to buy houses, there's a little bit more inventory. The rates have come down a little bit. It might be the time to snag that they've been looking for. What do you think, Patricia? Good time to be looking at houses right now?
This is actually the best time right now, I think, out of this year to be looking at homes. And one thing that I've been talking to my clients about is, not listening to what's being reported on the news, because it's usually exaggerated. It's usually false. And it just sounds very dooming when in fact it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
So, I have quite a few buyers that are just really ramping up right now. I have a couple with Gustavo that are getting their blueprint, ready as far as what their qualification might be. And this is really the best time to start that qualification process, because most buyers are going to be waiting to see if there's any more rate drops this year. And you can get in front of all that competition by starting your process today and possibly even closing escrow by the end of the year. So I myself have a couple of escrows closing next week, and, a couple of buyers that are going to be purchasing as well. So this is really the best time to get in front of that spring home buying competition that's just around the corner. It's going to be here before we know it. And what's going to happen is prices are going to go up. They're going to increase.
I hear all the time people say to me, well, I'm going to wait until springtime. And I say, well, that's good. So you want to wait until there's a line for the houses you want to buy, and then you want to stand at the end of that line to try to get in, and then everybody else buy the houses you want. And
Right.
all the houses you might want between now and March, you want somebody else to buy those houses rather than get the chance. No, I want those. And their sellers will tell me, well, I'm going to wait till spring to put my house in the market. I'll say to them, okay, so anybody who's buying a house in now December and March,
Yeah.
you want them to buy somebody else's house now because you want to put your house in the market with all the other sellers waiting. Like, why would you wait if it's the right time to sell or buy? It's the right time to sell or buy. If it's not, it's not for you, right?
Yeah.
Gustavo, good time to buy, bad time to buy. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. We see the rates coming down now. I think, like you guys are talking about, less competition. Whenever I hear this, I think of a lot of time our own human behavior. If we see that there's no line, we anticipate whatever is there is not good. If we see a long line somewhere else, we'll go stand in that one because we think that it's going to be better, So I think some people are waiting for other people to jump in first before they go and stand in line and get a home, right? But unfortunately, by that time, the inventory is going to be gone. So I think this is a situation where you have to be strategic. You have to be a leader in that thought process. Like Patricia said, get your own roadmap. You may waste your time standing in line when you realize that you can't buy a house right now because of credit or down payment. So you want to make sure that you take the initiative, you find out what your situation looks like. And then if you're ready, then go ahead and start that process, and you probably end up in a much better situation than if you were to wait 6 or 9 months.
Right.
So I know, Gustavo, you had some information you wanted to share with us about home prices. Tell us
Yeah.
what you can about
So
what's going on with the market.
yeah, every month, right, we get new data, just like the economic update, right? It's what's happening in our economy, what's happening with inflation, what's happening here with home appreciation, right? So these are the five major reporting agencies here that are always sending out updated information. As you can see here now, all the way through September. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a lag to get the latest data, but everything now here, Case Shiller and FHFA just came up with their updates for September, and you can see it's still going very strong. 0.7, 0.6. CoreLogic and Black Knight are a little bit below that. Zillow is kind of like an outlier there at negative 0.1. But they were also kind of like the outlier back in April and May where they went over 1%. So that's why we look at more data,
Isn't that
right?
interesting? Isn't it interesting that Zillow was the lowest when they were low and the highest when they're high? It's like,
Yeah,
what does that say about Zillow? Are the
yeah.
least accurate?
I think that goes with their Zillow estimates, right? For their
Exactly.
homes as
Yeah.
well. So, which is why we look at all these different agencies and we say, okay, well, what could it be, right? All these companies is like, what are they reporting on, and what could that look like? And year over year, they're all higher. So, we're making the usual 4 or 5% appreciation, and we're on pace for that easily. We're at 6, 7, some even 8%, right? So, as we get here into the final months of the year, it's still staying strong, like you guys are saying. There's a little bit less buyers because maybe the seasonality, but that should give everybody else an opportunity. There's plenty of people that are still in line to get a home. So I think right now we had a great week on rate. We dropped about 0.5%, and I think it's still a great opportunity to get some quotes and update your pre-approvals and see how much more you can afford now. And tomorrow, I'm expecting some good news as well from the new inflation reports.
Well, if you're regular on this show, you know that Gustavo is the person who actually manages interest rates and is responsible for the interest rate market. And so I want to, let's see, let me get this out of here real quick. Remove that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to add to the stage.
And I've been doing a great 3 weeks in a row. I've been
Good
doing
work.
great.
You have been.
Yeah.
You're not here one week, and we gave you a hard time. And ever
Yeah.
since, you've really put together a nice string. So take a look at these interest rates. I think you were gone this week.
Yeah, right
Was
around
the
there.
18th, and we got on you, and then you came back, and you came back, and you came back, and here you are today. Rates have,
Yeah.
at one time, were slightly over 8%, 8.03, and
Yeah,
they
a month
threatened
ago.
with 8 again. And here it is ever since the month of November. It's been going down, and 7.13 today, huh?
Yeah, we had a really good week this week. So tomorrow we have new inflation data coming out. The Fed loves this inflation data coming out tomorrow. Everything is showing an early indicator that it could be lower. So we could see some lower inflation numbers. And if that's the case, I think the market will react very positive, and we may see some updates tomorrow. I may be calling a lot of more people about the pre-approval updates, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, great. Danielle gave us a thumbs up. Hey, Danny on LinkedIn. Nice to see you. Good job, Gustavo. And I think that this speaks to why you need to be here every week, because it seems like when you're off, things fall apart, and we need to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming consistent.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, work on that. So if you work a little harder, gets down below 7 in the 6s, we'll be very happy here, right? Anybody here who's on the call who wants to see Gustavo get our rates down below 7, please let us know.
Yeah.
And if you're mad at Gustavo, you close your deal back in October or September, October, reach out to him. Maybe he can help you get a better rate now. So, but it's really
There you go.
the whole Fed. They raise the rates based on what Gustavo tells them to do. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too that when
Yes,
there
Danielle,
were
thank you.
quite a few buyers that were kicked out of the game when the rates back in October, October 18th went up to just slightly over 8%.
Mhm.
And a lot of buyers are, they see that they don't qualify at 8%, and then they withdraw from pursuing their home ownership, right? They stop, looking at homes. They kind of withdraw from the idea of buying a home and that goal. But they're not necessarily keeping up with the rates and what's going on with the real estate market. They're just still traumatized, still stuck on the rates that we were seeing back in October. But the real estate market keeps changing, and now we're starting to see the trajectory of the rates and where they're going. So it looks like they are going to start slowly coming down. And then from what I've been, keeping up with as far as all of the chief economists, looks like, next year around February, March, we're going to see another rate decrease. And that's really what's going to start prompting more home buyers and really get the demand going and really push on that. So this is another reason why, if you are looking to purchase a home, as Gustavo mentioned, get your pre-approval refreshed. You might have been pushed off onto the sidelines because of what the rates were doing, but don't let that keep you there. This is a perfect time to get yourself back in and get your pre-approval updated and see where you're at. Because if you were pre-approved before, and even if you weren't, you could possibly still be, qualified to get into a home today.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so rates coming down, or came down, I guess the key thing is who knows where they're going to go, but they've come down. And I think that I don't know that I would say necessarily see long-term rates coming down, but certainly with an election coming up, there's just too much political power at stake to allow. I'm sure whatever they have to do in the short term between now and November or October, they're going to juice what they can. So it might be a good chance to get in, lock in, and take advantage of a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
How are open houses during December? Do people still have? I guess there's some houses are vacant. They're open. Other houses, people living in, probably a little harder to get into. Patricia, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, they're still pretty busy. I'm in the LA market, and homes are pretty busy. I'm seeing more listings in my area in Downey, and days on market, has started to shrink some. A couple months ago, we were seeing like 45, 60 days, and now it's starting to shorten and tighten up. So I am seeing the demand is definitely still there, and closings are happening. It's interesting because I do have a lot of buyers that come through open houses, and they'll ask me if prices are going to be coming down. So there's still that notion out there that people are thinking prices are going to come down. But then I show them something like what we just previewed right now, that graph that shows what the year over year price indicators look like. And there's been a steady increase every year. So given that information, it's basically letting them know that this is a good time to buy and prices are not going to come down. If anything, they're going to increase next year, especially when the rates come down. We're going to start seeing bidding wars again. We're going to start seeing very competitive offers and prices that are being offered for the same home. So that's basically what I've been seeing is buyers coming into open houses, not pre-approved, and interest to buy, but for some reason thinking that prices are going to come down just because it's December. We're at the end of the year, so they're thinking prices are going to come down.
Right. Like there's a Black Friday for real estate, and there really isn't. I don't know if there's really a Black Friday for much of anything. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me the same things I saw prices of Black Friday are still available for the same price
Right.
at other times. Is that just me? Am I being a hater on Black Friday sales, or what's going on with that? What do you think?
Maybe you missed out on something, and that's why.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did. Actually, I didn't buy. I was looking at something to buy. I didn't buy it, and it's the same price. Today that it was on Black Friday, and the salesperson was really pressing me to make a decision. I was looking to buy a new computer, and the truth is, I waited to get it, and because I don't really need it quite yet. I wasn't really sure, and I don't know. I'm not very quick to spend money. That's just not my nature. And here it is the same price as it was the other day. So, okay. So Bill's a hater on Black Friday. I also hate Zillow, and I'm really down on Redfin. Just FYI, if you watch my YouTube channel, I've been having fun with them for the last few weeks. So it's been a part of it. Danny L says, not to mention that rent you're paying while you wait. You're going to be paying a mortgage, but you decide whether you want to pay your own mortgage or somebody else's. That's a good point. One of the things about waiting to buy a house is you're paying the landlords, and that almost always goes up. Now, there are markets in the country where rents have gone down. Those are places they doubled and they move more quickly than in LA. And they have declined, like in Austin and Phoenix and certain places, but not in Los Angeles. I don't know of any city where rents are down. Patricia, are rents down in Downey or
Not,
562?
nope.
I don't think so. There's no landlords calling their tenants saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I raised your rent. Let me give you a reduction." I've never heard of that happening in LA.
Yeah.
In other markets, yes,
Right.
because they ramp so quickly, but not here at all.
Mhm.
Okay. What else? Last thoughts, Gustavo? Last thoughts?
I think like Patricia said, getting that roadmap, that's really important. Use this time to use this as a resource. I was, as I talk to more and more buyers, the interpretation I get from them, or the feeling I get, is that they feel like they are committing by being able to talk to us, that they're going to be buying a house in the next week or two. And I tell them, I go, look, just because we're talking, it doesn't mean that I expect you to buy a house in the next week or two. What we're doing here is we're checking your credit profile. We're checking your income. We're taking a look at what you can qualify. What is your down payment on a $500,000 home or an $800,000 home? What kind of programs are out there for you? I talked to Patricia about different down payment programs, right? Assistance. So it's what is their roadmap to home ownership. So I think it's a good time. Don't feel like you're bothering us. Definitely reach out, and we'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, it's interesting. The average person, I almost hate to say the statistic, the average buyer, from the time they start looking for houses until they actually buy, on average, is over 2 years. And I think that's not to say that necessarily you want to start 2 years ahead of time, but I do think that you're right. Just because you start the process doesn't mean you are committing to buying a house this week. It means that you're beginning at least to have the opportunity to possibly purchase if you wanted to. Otherwise, you're just not able to. So that's why I start the process. Give yourself the option. Take a look at the market, see what's there for you. And if it is available for you, we'd love to have you. We'd love to help you do it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that's all I have. I think that's all we have for this week. We're going to do this again next week. Next week, have a heads up. We're going to do this at 4:00 p.m. We do every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday. We're off for some of the holidays, but basically. A recap, Gustavo can be reached at, what's your phone number, Gustavo?
714-334-4563.
Great. And Patricia.Castillo?
Yes, I'm available at 323-365-9909.
I'm Bill Gross. I'm available on social media at Bill Gross Probate. If I can help you at all, reach out. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks, Gustavo. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.